1-800-273-8255. There is always somebody there. There's always options.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes they forget they have choices or that there's a way out, and there is. If they can just open up and calm down. Sometimes a simple thing is breathing nice and deeply and slowly. Our breath is our most natural way to calm down. So just breathing and slow down and say reassure, it's going to be okay. It's a really, really simple way to calm yourself. So kind of like going back to some of the things.
You wrote a book. Is that your book, Behind an IC?
I have a podcast.
Oh, that's your podcast. Oh, okay. So what do you teach in your podcast?
My podcast and it's called Anxiety Simplified. And it teaches techniques to calm and to be able to think through things, reassure. It just gives techniques and ways. For my 30 years as a therapist, I wanted to share these things. Again, all free resources on ways to look at what is a panic attack. Mm-hmm. Some people don't realize what those are. Mm-hmm. And so, it's really some ways to come up with some simplified ways to help.
And
one of the simplest ways I have found.
Okay. I was just going to say, some people who's experienced the very first panic attack that I know of they didn't know it was a panic attack like you were describing. They don't know what it looks like. So it's only years later when they get off a depression cycle, they realize, what was that, a panic attack? So describe to me what panic attack could be.
Okay, love to. Yeah, and I'll tell you, I do evaluations for people who want to have an emotional support animal. And in that it has to be a psychological evaluation that I, look at what's going on in their life. And I'll tell you, most people, if I ask, do you have panic attacks? They say no. But when I ask, do you ever have an episode of anxiety that kind of just washes over you so fast you don't know what happens, and you have symptoms like your heart is racing, you get hot or sweaty or clammy palms, or short of breath and you feeling closed, or maybe lightheaded or dizzy? They go, oh yeah, I have that sometimes. And so those are just a few. There's actually 13 symptoms. And so you could only 4 of them to be what we would clinically consider a panic attack. But yeah, a lot of people are going through and they don't even know what's going on. All of a sudden they go, they're panting and they don't even know.
There's other symptoms I experience, or I did not experience in the past, if you overstressed. It's pain in my ear. I never got that until last 2 years. I'm like, what is that? Why am I getting pain in my ear? So it could be from an old infection, or I have toothaches and stuff. And now whenever I do get stressed, I will get immediate semi-headache, tension, pain in my ear. I'm like, oh my. So some other people will have you saying the sweating thing right away, could be the shaking, if you're addicted.
It's like a hot wave. Mm-hmm. Or it can be cold too. Some people get hot and cold. But it's like this body shutdown, really, kind of a sensation like your body's ready to fight or run, or it freezes up. And it's very similar to what happens, if something happens and you don't know what to do, and your body gets ready and it pulls all the blood around your heart. So sometimes people even have tingling or numbness in their hands because, again, the body's taking care of you. The blood kind of drains out of your head and goes to your heart, or you're ready to run. So it can have all those symptoms, and it's actually helping you to get ready. And that's what anxiety is really meant to do, is help you get ready. And if you can just tell yourself, like reassure yourself, you're going to be okay. If you're afraid because you're going to go speak in front of a crowd or fly on a plane. That's what I hear a lot, is flying on a plane. People are like, and I tell them, reassure yourself, you're going to be all right. It's safer than driving, but really try to reassure yourself and breathe. That's one of your main things.
Start by using good words, good terminology, non-aggressive words, positive words with no and buts. Those are things that I learned recently through so many other like social worker and psychologists and stuff. So other things you can do is, like you said, breathe, find like music that can relaxes you, talk to a friend, somebody who's very supportive, address an issue. And just don't start making something big out something really small. A lot of times you start worrying about making a big scenario in your head and how it could be, how things could go awfully. A lot of time people do that and it doesn't go that way. And then months later you realize all of this worry for nothing. None of these things that I, see in my head, like imagine happen. So a lot of time we worry for nothing, we make up things, and we gotta stop. So once you realize that, and you are in charge of your thoughts process, you do not need to worry, you do not know what's gonna happen, you cannot predict the future, then it's much easier. But this takes a long, there's way more to that to be learned. If you want to, help yourself, you gotta either pick a life coach, a therapist, a psychologist. I mean, there's just so many ways. Listen to a podcast, do some meditation, it's just yoga. Yoga is great for breathing techniques. I learn from the best. I still learn every day. There's people it's just so many ways and techniques, ways to improve yourself every day and go through your triggers and traumas and all this stuff. So.
And these are skills.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people forget that these are learned. We don't come with this automatic knowing. We learn, we use the skills to understand what works for you. And you just named off a lot of them,
Like what works, and the other things when people always say that works best, that can help people, is facing their fear. It's easy to say, nobody wants to face their fear, but when we do that, we cut a lot of barriers. Everything that is wrong in your life is usually because you're not facing those fears. So when you start doing that, you see life will just get so much better. And you'll just be able to feel much better.
Absolutely. And one of the things, like I was saying, I certify people to have an emotional support animal. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the ways I have found helps people face their fears better than any way ever. Oh. And I found out about it, and I have my little guy right here with me right now. That, I found out about this flying on a plane because I have anxiety to fly.
Oh.
And the flight attendant told me about a program that you can get a letter, from a therapist that does recommend you to have an animal to fly with you. Mm. And so, so the last 7 years, that's become my specialty. And I've never seen anything as having an emotional support animal to grab when you're afraid and hug. And, for suicide is the same thing. I cannot tell you how many clients have told me they had been thinking about suicide, didn't know what to do. And they looked their little doggy in the eyes and they couldn't do it. They could not do it. So an animal in your life, or just petting an animal, has been shown as one of the ways to calm, and that animals give meaning and benefit to your life.
Yes.
So you can actually, help by even maybe bringing your animal over to your grandparents' house. Let them just kind of feel the
picked
calm.
Up on the stress vibe. Yeah, it's funny, but it's true. A lot of people do find how do you call this, consolation, like they feel better when they have an animal. And you can get pretty close to your animal. So if you don't have that best friend or that life partner, or you just can't seem to be just connected to other human being, a lot of people found that it's better to just get animals. And it doesn't have to be just one. I see people who love to have so many animals. I remember a woman from my past, she had like 10 parakeets and like 4 cats, 4 dogs, and rats, like everything. And that was like a way to like feel better, you know?
Yeah, they're like children, you know, in a lot of ways. And they keep you busy and they make your mind, you know, go to caretaking, giving to another person. And it really does help us a lot of times to get us out of our own head. You know, I have to think about something else. And they do give us back a lot of love too.
Wow. So everybody go check out Anxiety Simplified step-by-step solution. It was great to have you, Joanne William. And she can be found on Master of Reinvention or on her website. And thanks for all these great tips and for coming on today.
Thank you so much. Yes, I have a lot of free resources on my website, anxietysimplified.net.
All right, go check it out, everybody. Thanks. Goodbye.
Thank you.
All right, I hope that everybody enjoyed this. That was Joanne Williams, and you can go and find her on Facebook and on the website. And I'll see you everybody next time, everybody.